I'm Lauren Dinneweth, the director of the Orion Art Center, and I want to welcome you to The Palette, our show about art and artists in our community. You know, the Orion Art Center is so fortunate to be located on the banks of the Paint Creek. And every year, the 8th graders from Scripps Middle School come here to test the health of the water. And then they come into the Art Center to mix the science with a little art. We'll show you how. We'll also talk about how important it is to make room for the art in your life with painter Diann Jameyfield, who's been teaching and mentoring artists for over 30 years. And we'll visit the studio of fiber artist Sarah Tierney, who infuses her work with natural elements and a bit of soul as well. That's all coming up next on this edition of The Palette. One of our most popular shows here at the Orion Art Center is the Recreate Recycled Art Show, sponsored by Waste Management. We had a wonderful turnout this year. We handed out ribbons and prizes, and here's a look at the opening reception. Thank you guys all for, I love this turnout. I mean, I love this show. I want to thank you for coming to the 2013 Recreate Recycled Art Show. And to tell you the truth, this is absolutely my favorite show. And not only because when you know, the whole theme of recycling the materials, turning something into, making a piece of art out of something that might be thrown away, turning it into something that we can ask, that provokes questions, that you know, makes us take a closer look at what's around us. But also because I think when an artist really is kind of forced to use original materials, you know, not the traditional going to what they normally use, I feel like they take materials that speak to them. And so it really gives us an idea of a, you know, a window into their thinking, into their mind, and I love the way you can look at a piece and you see it and you think you know what's happening, and then you take another look and you see something different. So transformation is the theme this year, and I really feel that this type of art is transformative, not only in looking at it, but for the artists in creating it. So we do have some awards to give out tonight, but before we do that, I wanted to ask Kathy Klein from Waste Management. We have a wonderful community partner in Waste Management in being able to put this show on. So I want Kathy to say a few words as well.
Well, again, I don't think I can say anything that Lauren hasn't said. She says it really, really well, so I won't bother everyone with repeating it. But thank you all for coming. It's like, I always feel like it's this fabulous, fabulous party, and everybody shows up and has such a great time, and I can't thank you guys enough for participating in this. It's really wonderful. So thank you.
So we're going to start out with Youth Award, and the first place for youth goes to, congratulations, Wolfpack 59. Is there anyone here from the Wolfpack? If you don't know what they did, it's UFO sucks up cows in the meadow. And I told them they found a lot of those elements when they were cleaning up along the side of the road and put them together in the UFO. So first place goes to Wolfpack 59. So I don't know if this, I'll give you this then. So now we'll move on to the teen category. First place teen, David Emilian. Wow. Adventure, and that's the book over here, the altered book.
We're making an art project in Mr. Brazo's class. I think he's here back there. And so I decided to make a book. And I made my boat, and then me and my friends were like, these will go good together, so we just merged all ours together, and it turned into something really good.
Transformation.
Just everything, like the squids, like the objective to get to the land.
Well, congratulations.
Thank
Okay, now on to the adults. Best use of recycled materials. And so the juror was looking at the type of materials you used and how you incorporated them into your design, and whether they were, truly recycled materials, or, so she took a lot of things into consideration. Best use of recycled materials, first place.
I'm nervous.
Oh, yeah, features.
Woman of the house, Jerry Brazeau, where are you? So you want to talk a little bit about, give us some insight into your piece, because congratulations.
Thank you. Well, going with the idea of recreation, the woman face originally I did about a year ago with encaustic, and I really didn't like that painting. I just kind of sat in the corner. I was trying to figure out what to do for this show, and it kind of really brings out some different ideas. And so I just took it to the table saw and started cutting it up, so it's painted on wood. And then before you know it, I found another scrap piece of wood I had laying around, so I'm just picking up all these house pieces I had that I didn't use for my real house anymore. And just kept cutting it up and used my brad nailer and some adhesive, and there we go. So.
Now, first place. Best use of theme transformation goes to Shoei Howie for transforming Detroit.
I started doing window frames for the Health and Healing show for my mother. It just seemed to be perfect for her. And I just couldn't stop, so I've been doing little pieces, and I've been begging friends from East Point to bring me more screen material. And this is Detroit, and we've been talking a whole lot about getting the suburbs and the urban areas together. We've been talking about getting food from up here, our weeds and our invasive species, down to the soup kitchens and down to the urban gardens. So I'm hoping to get some people from the Greening of Detroit that came out and got a couple plants. So this is a new urban garden, and the trees are here, and this cloud is kind of graffiti too, and it's in the back. And so if you really look at it, you can see more parts of Tiger Stadium, and you can see various parts of Detroit. And the Greening of Detroit sent me something in Utopia, this movie, which you should all see. So that's what inspired this. And it will continue to inspire.
Very nice.
Thank you everyone again for coming. Have something to eat, take a closer look, come back, when you can even take another look at it, and thanks again.
Hi, my name is Ed Ratzenberger. The Orion Center has a Seniors Advisory Council. It is a group of 12 people who volunteer to help the Orion Center staff with their efforts to provide the programs and services of the Orion Center for the seniors of our community. The center would like your assistance in order to help determine the activities and services that seniors prefer. The center is a comfortable and enjoyable place for you to visit, to meet with your friends, and to make new friends. You're welcome to provide your suggestions for activities and services, for your general observations, for your complaints, and for your positive comments. If you would like to give your thoughts to the Advisory Council, please stop by the Orion Center and deposit your comments in one of the boxes that the Advisory Council has made available. If you want to include your contact information, we will respond to you within a few days. Or if you prefer, we also welcome and value anonymous comments. All contributions will be discussed. We hope you will respond, and we thank you in advance for your help. It is a pleasant place to enjoy and does not cost a penny to be a member. Membership in the seniors group is free. Thank you for your time. We look forward to hearing from you and to meeting you. Take care.
This is our 11th year doing our stream monitoring for the Clinton River Watershed Council. So we have 115 students here testing the quality of Paint Creek. Well, we have 5 different stations. They include the chemical tests, so students are testing the dissolved oxygen, the phosphate levels, the nitrate levels. We do some physical tests, measuring the stream width, the depth, the velocity of the stream, as well as whether the stream has been channelized or if there's what kind of plants are alongside the banks. We have the bug station, the benthic macroinvertebrates. The kids love picking through the bugs. The bugs actually tell us the health of the river as well. What we find and what we don't find can give us clues about the river. We have the land use station, which students take into account if there's parking lots, how the land is used, parking lots, businesses, commercial business, residential, golf courses, and how that might impact the river. And then the last, we've joined hands with the Orion Art Center and their Recreate Recycled Art Show this year. And students are inside viewing the art show displays as well as making their own Recreate art today.
It works really well for us because we have the Recycled Art Show going on right now, which also has an environmental component to it and goes hand in hand with what they're doing outside with the science. So having them do the science outside and the art inside really complements each other. And also, outside, what they're doing is a bit more structured. It's more structured out here. They're doing testing, they're getting results, and then they come inside and they take a look at the art and they're able to go upstairs and kind of play. I mean, I think it's important to have in your life that component where you just free associate and where you can use your imagination without any structure, and I feel like that's what they're able to do inside the Art Center today. Being a scientist, what role do you think art plays in science?
Well, art really goes everywhere in science because science is all about observation and art is right connected with that. So there's patterns in nature that scientists study. There's, of course, the traditional role of art with illustrations in science. So there's just all together, it makes a great blend, and we're so happy that the Art Center is here for us and we can expose our students to this wonderful resource we have in the community.
Excellent. And as far as the Recycled Art Show, it kind of goes hand in hand with the environmental aspect of what you guys are doing.
Absolutely. And the students, some of our students actually have pieces in this show. And so these kids in their art class at Scripps did some of the art here. And so it helps when we talk about reducing our waste in the landfills. What do we do with the waste? Let's make some art out of it.
Please remember that CFL bulbs, you know, those curly, energy-efficient light bulbs everybody is using to save electricity, shouldn't be thrown away in your trash. Neither should batteries or home medical sharps. You can check with your local community to see where they can be recycled. Some retailers will allow you to bring them in for recycling. You can also order simple kits online that allow you to collect your recyclables and simply mail them away to be properly recycled. This green tip was brought to you by your friends at Waste Management.
What do you try to bring to the class for the students?
Inspiration. I have to inspire them to paint, and they have to have that to continue, otherwise they get bored. And what it is, to be an artist, it takes dedication. And I'm trying to instill that in my students, is if you want to be an artist, it takes hard work and dedication. You have to be dedicated.
So you have to make time for your art.
Oh yes, I do. I paint just about every day.
And all of these students, everyone has to make time for art.
That's right. Right. That's my priority. I'm retired now, so I have a lot of time. I enjoy teaching, and it's sort of like giving back.
So, what type of person is this class for?
For anybody, for anyone. And what I like to do is, because I've been teaching 30 years, and I used to, when I started out, set up a still life or, you know, have something for them to paint and tell them what to do. And then I found, well, people were getting bored. They couldn't do what they wanted to do. So with this class, everyone works on whatever subject they like. If they want to work on a landscape or a still life, they have that option. And I work with them at their own level. I only push them as far as I can, you know, because I don't want to discourage them. I want them to keep painting.
So when you're actually helping them with the lines, what are some of the things that you're able to help them with?
Well, you know, there's basic things that you have to learn about art. There's the elements of art. You know, there's line, value, color, and you have to learn the basics, you know, basics of art, and then from there, then you get the creative part. But you have to learn the elements of good art, and they do exist.
So give me an example of the types of people that would be interested in coming. Someone who's just learning to paint, someone who's working on their portfolio. Give me a kind of a quick...
Well, it could be anyone, young, old, doesn't really matter. I work with them, whatever. I try to get them to the level that they want to attain, or if they want to get into, say, art school, I can help them with their portfolio. Older people, you know, they just want it as a hobby and enjoy painting something that's pretty, whatever, doesn't really matter. I can help anyone.
What is it about this class and Diann's instruction? I mean, is she more than an instructor here?
Oh yes, we're all friends here. It's a very friendly group. We love it. We learn a lot. It's never a dull moment.
What do you think that she brings to it? I mean, as she looks at your painting a little bit differently than you look at your painting.
The main thought in coming here is that you come to learn and not to create a perfect masterpiece, because you can't come right off the bat and create a masterpiece. You have to learn and you have to listen to what she says. And if you listen and you do what she says, even though your brain tells you it's not right, you'll create a good painting. But if you do what your brain says, it'll be a bad painting. You'll always paint bad paintings.
It doesn't.
No fair.
Does it help to have another pair of eyes then?
Oh, absolutely. Yes. Well, she knows all the rules and she knows how to break the rules. I don't know those yet. So, you know, you have to have, other eyes always help. But mainly is that you have to take instruction and you have to learn to see values, and values are absolutely more important than color. Color is wonderful, but if you don't have the values right, it'll be all wrong.
What are the values?
The lights and the darks and the contrast, and you know, you learn design. And
do you think is it helpful as an artist also to be able to have a set time where you come and you make room for your art in your life?
Oh, absolutely, because it's too easy to put off for life. You know, there's so many things in life that interfere, and I have to, myself personally, I have to push other things out of the way so I can do this. Otherwise, I'll never get anywhere. If you don't do that, if you don't make time, then most people just stop wherever they are and they never advance as an artist.
So certainly then there's a reward.
Oh, there's wonderful rewards, yes. We love it. We're good friends, and we're not a picky group or anything. It's just a very nice place to come and a very nice instructor and a very nice group.
Tell me about having rules with art.
Okay, well, there are rules. Not necessarily rules, but elements that go into good art, whether it's realistic, impressionistic, abstract. It all follows the same rules. And then once you learn the rules, then you can bend them and do whatever you want because you know what you can do.
But it's important to learn those basics.
It's important to learn the basics, right. Learn the color wheel, you know, learn about values. There's a lot of good videos out there too by different artists now that you can obtain fairly cheap. Some of them are like $39, $40. There's a lot of workshops that you can attend. So there's no excuse for not learning the basics.
Today we have the wonderful opportunity of visiting the studio of fiber artist Sarah Tierney, and Sarah creates these beautiful hand needle felted animals and dolls and pins, and they're highly detailed and just wonderful. Well, let's talk about how detailed these are and how much work you put into them.
Well, it depends on the project. Some of the pins can take 2 to 3, 4 hours. For example, I just donated a piece to the Detroit Zoo that took 2 months at least. So it varies depending on the project. And I tried to make, you know, a high quality piece, which means that I felt it quite firmly. So it's, you know, very detailed because of the amount of time I put into it. I'm the kind of artist though that I have to work on it for say several hours and then I need to come back to it. I'm a perfectionist, but I sometimes have to tweak it and make sure it looks right and that I'm satisfied, or if I'm doing commission work, that the customer's satisfied. And I try to give the animals, if I'm doing animals, kind of a little bit of a soul or personality. I do love animals, and somebody had mentioned that it seemed like most of my work, they all seem like they're smiling. But I guess I see animals sometimes, they make me smile and they kind of have a little smile on their face too.
Why needle felting? What inspires you about this?
Well, that's a kind of an interesting question because I'm an artist and I started out doing cards. I had ideas for inventions, men's jewelry. I did not plan to do this, and my mother passed away unexpectedly about 6 months after I had my studio. And I really lost my mojo. I actually didn't really feel motivated to do anything. And I have a picture of my mother on my artist's desk. And I said, what am I gonna do? And I'm a night owl. I was up late. I came across this. I think somebody had mentioned something about wool, and I taught myself. And from there, it's amazing because my mother loved snowmen. She hated the cold, but she loved snowmen. And my very first piece, which I have here, was a little snowman, snow woman I should say, with a little babushka. And I put it next to my mother's picture, and I started making gifts out of, you know, the needle felted wool, snowmen mainly. And they were well received, and from there I just kept going, and now I'm teaching and I'm donating to the Detroit Zoo and doing a lot of commission work also.
So in a way you feel really your mother inspired you.
Oh, definitely. I definitely feel that there's a spiritual aspect to what I do, because sometimes, I'm not trying to sound arrogant, but I'm surprised how it turns out. But it's kind of like my soul is in what I make. And also I have a little Chihuahua that's my muse, and my mother's my inspiration and my Chihuahua's my muse, and I should add my husband is a good support too, so I have to get him in there. But
now you use a lot of natural elements in your work as well. Is that important to you?
Very important. I try to make it as organic as possible. I had submitted a piece to the Orion Art Center, which I ultimately got a first place blue ribbon when I first started out, and it was called How Are You Holding Up, kind of based on some of the tragedies and situations I've been through. And I have a drill press, and I drilled holes into a rock that I found up at the Upper Peninsula on Lake Superior shoreline. And then I had wooden skewers, and I balanced them. I didn't want to use glue, that was my goal, and then felted around it, which, you know, the piece is in my studio. And so anything I try to do, I really try to make it as organic as possible, and buy alpaca and wool from local farms, Michigan or even Oxford. I buy it from the alpaca farms.
Now, briefly, if you could take us through the process, because there's quite a few stages to actually get the final piece of artwork.
It all starts out with cleaned wool, carded wool, kind of, and I just layer it, because the idea to felting is that, you know, you want to interlock the fibers. Now I also do wet felting too, which generally I do when the weather's nice, because you do need, it gets messy if it's a larger piece. But it starts out with just a big, pretty much clump of wool or fiber, alpaca, whatever the fiber may be. I've used Angora, mohair for another piece the zoo will be donating. It's a beaver habitat, and I use mohair and alpaca mix. Well, you know, it's funny, I almost equate this wool too like a cloud. You know, I see, like you see pictures in a cloud, I see pictures in the wool. And so you kind of, it starts to take shape. And sometimes you can even look at the wool and see a picture come out of it before you start. But as you keep going, you know, it gets firmer and firmer. Now, an hour from here, this will be very, very firm. So, get the idea.
Tell me a little bit about the piece back here with your father and what you wanted to portray.
Well, of course it is my dad, but it's a kind of, I think, a universal piece. It's like, we're all looking at mortality, and it's kind of reflecting on it. It happens to be my surname and the family's name. And when my mom passed away, I'd be honest, I used to hate going to cemeteries. It was, anything to do with death was very scary. And then after that, and I did lose my brother also after my mom, and it became kind of almost a serene, peaceful place. And my dad liked to sit, and he was also like that, but he liked to sit with the chair and kind of look, and he really found peace in that. And so I asked him, I was trying to get a title for it, and he said, I'm just thinking. So I entitled it Thinking. And it's just something that's, like I say, we're all going to face, and it's something I'm not afraid of, and yet it's, makes you think. I put all my focus in that, but sometimes I'm thinking about a lot of things, but it's a very good cathartic kind of art, because you can work and think about things, but kind of get your energy out while you're doing it. And as I said, and I always, again with my students, I really try to, because first of all they say I'm not creative and they're worried. So there is no mistakes, and you can move it, you can change it, you can, it's not you shouldn't have performance anxiety. It's a very, to me, it's a relaxed art. Years ago, I heard a quote, and I think about it. It says, if you want to hear God laugh, tell him your plans. Well, this wasn't my plan. I have to say, I think, I am a very intuitive person, sensitive person, but I think everyone should be open. I tell my students when I'm teaching that I'm going to teach you the technique, but you bring your experience and your personality to the piece. And I think even when you look at art, you never know what direction you're going to go into. And this has been something that's been, I belong to a Black Sheep Weavers Guild, Orion Art Center. I've been very happy with the response. It makes people smile, they said, when they, and so it's a way to connect. And I think, and I hope to do some shows too that are more in line with kind of the human condition. I think art is a way to connect. So I wouldn't worry even so much on what you're going to do. I think it's incorporating your life into the creative process, and I think you'll find it for yourself what you need to do.
Sarah shows us that even the most basic materials can be used to create beautiful art. That's it for this edition of The Palette, but I want to tell you what's coming up this month at the Orion Art Center. We'll be having a free concert series by Miss Carissa. Now, Carissa Knowles creates songs that you'll be humming long after the concert is over, so you can bring the kids, a blanket, and a picnic dinner, and come on over to the Art Center June 29th at 5:30 for this free family event. Of course, it's almost summer, and we have big plans for Dragon on the Lake coming up on August 23rd through 25th. This year, the Orion Art Center is pleased to offer a juried art fair in Lake Orion. It's called Lakeside Living, and it celebrates the fine art of casual living. Both national and local artists will be selling their work. Dragon boat racing is also back again this year, and if you haven't tried it, it's absolutely a blast. It's an amazing team-building challenge and a great workout. Now you can find out more about all of our events and our classes by visiting orionartcenter.org or dragononthelake.com. Give us a call or visit us right down here at the Art Center. I'm Lauren Dinneweth, and we'll see you next time.